Is it recording?
It is.
Hear that drag going? Okay, don't horse him. Hang on. Oh my God, I sound like my father. Whoa. Okay, it's good. Whoa, buddy. If he tires himself out underwater, he's not gonna fling that hook. Is he gonna jump again? Is that him?
Yep.
Okay. Let him pull drag. That's okay. That's what the drag is for. Oh yeah, look at that fish. We're gonna run aground here. Okay. Look at that, mommy.
Nice fish, buddy.
Whoa, buddy.
Get us moving back. You have the fish now? You got the fish in your hand?
Yep. Is it still taping?
It is.
Oh man, nice job. 2 missed fish, but when it counted, you got it. That's awesome. When it counted. That's not, my English is good. The Ned Rig. This little dude right here has a lot of buzz going on about him right now. And for good reason, they're good baits. I've said many times before, when you're a minimalist fisherman, you don't just tie on one presentation and leave it on all year. That's not what it means. This is not something that you tie on and leave on all year. It is a staple in my tackle collection at this point, and it's a presentation that I take very seriously. I think that Z-Man makes a great product, but there's situations where this doesn't work, and we're gonna cover some of those as we go along. Now personally, my favorite way to fish a Ned Rig is with something called a Hula Stick. A Hula Stick is a little bit longer than the standard turd. This also is power finesse. This is what is this? Power finesse shroom jig head. So this is by Z-Man as well. This has got a little bit longer shank on it, on the hook, and it works well with the Hula Stick. I've used it like this. I've also used it with just the standard finesse shrooms jig heads that Z-Man has. Both of them work well with this bait. Now I try to never refer to Hula Sticks in the plural form because it's spelled with a stupid Z at the end of it, which is kind of ridiculous. So I always just try to talk about Hula Stick. But between that, you know, we've got the Hula StickZ with the Z, and here we've got some turd tubes with the Z. Just the fact that they have a bait called the turd is awesome. That alone, you should buy a pack just because they put that out. That's awesome. So the standard turd is smaller. I can't even say that. So the standard turd is smaller. It's more of a finesse type bait than the Hula Stick. The Hula Stick is a little bit larger, and I think it attracts a little bit larger fish. So I'll fish this for smallmouth a lot. We'll fish this for largemouth bass around here where we can. We live in Illinois, so we've got the sludgy, mucky death bottom in a lot of our lakes, and it's terrible. And so we can't throw an exposed hook on a jig head in that stuff because it just gets buried or it comes up with muck, and it's a disaster. But I love this bait in sandy, sand to weed transitions on rocky humps, rocky shorelines, things like that where you can move it around and it's not gonna get hung up. And this material actually floats. Let's talk about the material a little bit. So this stuff is called Elastec. Again, there's a crazy Z in the middle of it. And this is super stretchy. It's got salt impregnated in it, and it floats, which is really cool. So when this bait comes down and it hits the bottom, it's gonna stand upright. So if you take that and you kind of jig along a little bit, just subtly, it looks like something feeding on the bottom of the lake, which is really cool. With the salt in there, they're not heavily scented baits, but the fish seem to hang on to them. A lot of times when I catch smallmouth, I won't actually feel a strike. I'll notice that my line is moving horizontal. Let's say we're fishing rocky humps and we've been out somewhere where it's kind of windy, so you have to fight the wind a little bit, but if you can tell that your line is moving even subtly off to the side, a lot of times I'll reel down, I'll set the hook. When you set the hook, you're not snapping it super hard, you're using a longer, I'm usually using like a 7-1 spinning outfit. And then when I set the hook, I'm just gonna reel down and I'm gonna lift and apply pressure. Enough pressure to set the hook, but I'm not gonna hammer it. These pointy little dudes will get stuck right in their mouth. But it's nice because you can have a bunch of these in your boat. They're not covered in salt on the outside, so they're not spilling crap everywhere. It's not falling off the bait as soon as you put it in the water, and the fish will still hang on to it. That being said, there is something that you need to be concerned with. This material, for whatever reason, will react with Plano containers, it will react with other baits, it will react with paint, and it will cause all that stuff to kind of disintegrate and melt. Now I'm gonna show you an example of some of the baits that I brought back from vacation last year that were in a bag with these. And you can see like the paint on my Daredevil here, it essentially disintegrated and it still has not hardened up and dried. It's turned to muck and it won't harden up and dry. It's very strange. So check this, these are my baits that were with my Ned Rig. You can see the paint coming off on this paper towel here. This was a tube that didn't really get too jacked up. And these were just stored in the same Ziploc package. Pay no attention to that, that didn't do anything. I was trying to fish deeper for pike. This is, oh, they're stuck together. Ugh. This was the spoon. I don't want to touch my camera now. That was the Daredevil. And the paint has been pretty much disintegrated off of that. This was another Daredevil that started to get eaten. You can see like where the face was at, it's kind of jacked up. On some of these Plano containers, in the past, I've had it actually eat the plastic and there will be like a gouge left behind. So this is just an example of what happens if you put your Ned Rig, if you put your ElasTech put emphasis on that Z, baby, the ElasTech baits in with other baits and you transport them, that's something that you have to watch out for. I don't know if I'm gonna wipe that down. I'll probably wipe it down and use it. I might try to repaint it. They are worth the hassle, but keep these packages or get some Ziplocs. I've been able to put them in Ziplocs and it hasn't eaten through that. This innocent looking little dude right here will destroy your, it'll destroy your other stuff. With great power comes great responsibility. So definitely keep the packages that these things come in and think a little bit about your storage. If you're taking a backpack and you're fishing from shore, think a little bit about where you're gonna be storing these baits. If this is gonna be next to some other rods or reels, if you're traveling, make sure this isn't hanging off and touching something else. You have to be careful, but it's worth it because these things do work really well. Now again, this isn't a one-size-fits-all solution, but it is a great option if you have people that are new to fishing or youngsters. This last year, my son caught his first smallmouth bass all on his own, from cast to boat. And it was on one of these. We were fishing rocky shoreline, like I said, and he was just casting this out, and he would raise his rod tip up a couple feet, and he'd let it fall. And he'd shake it, and he'd raise it up a couple feet, and let it fall, and he'd shake it. Moved it out from shore a couple times, and we missed several fish. He actually missed several fish because he wasn't getting a good hook set, but then he got it when it mattered. When he had a good one on, he set the hook hard, and it was awesome. It was one of the greatest memories that, that I have. I post a lot about kids and stuff on here because that really is what it's all about, at least for me. And that's what I want to share with you guys, is that I think that there's a lot of value in that, and that helps to kind of complete me as a person. One of the reasons I take fishing so seriously is because it was always important to my family that we go and we fish, but I want to make sure now as my kids start to get older that I'm proficient enough that I can put them on fish and I can have them use baits that are going to catch those fish. So this isn't magic, but it's a good option in a lot of situations. Well, you go ahead and hang back. You can get in if you want.
So you wrecked my boat, is that what you're telling me? Oh, nice.
I caught the biggest fish that I've ever caught in my life, and I'm trying to get into it.
You caught that?
Yeah.
Okay, now hold him low. I mean, get him out of the water, but keep him low or else he's gonna flop through the air, okay?
Nice fish.
Remember tight.
Wow, nice fish.
Do you want to switch over and get a couple pictures, please?
Yes.
Now, I'm gonna link to a blog on the site. If you wanna hit that up, there's a little bit more information on kind of the history of the Ned Rig, where it comes from, and some other options. But I wanna mention one more key point here. It really is a super simple presentation, and it really does work. And this ElasTech stuff is awesome, and it does float, and it's got salt in it. And it looks great. This is a green pumpkin. It's a great color. When you're fishing this, think about the line that you're using. If you're using monofilament, it's gonna float, so it's gonna cause this to sink slower. If you're using fluorocarbon, it's gonna sink faster. You're gonna have that added sensitivity that comes with fluorocarbon, so that you're gonna be able to feel the bottom and the fish, but the fish are also gonna be able to feel you. So you have to decide, monofilament's gonna have that stretch in it, it's gonna sink slower. Fluorocarbon, gonna sink faster, more sensitivity. So really think about what it is that you're trying to do. But when it comes to Ned Rig fishing, beware of the cash grab. Unfortunately, right now, this is a massively popular bait. There are videos that I've seen dedicated to getting in the boat and I'm gonna go fish a Ned Rig all day, and we caught 150 fish, and this is so awesome. You know, we're bordering on banjo minnow here. The difference is that this is an actual bait that does really work. But we've also seen other companies make Ned type trailers. We've seen other companies make Ned type jigs. We've seen every possible plastic that you can think of has been released in a Ned form. So it's just shorter, and if it's by Z-Man and made out of Elastec, it floats. If it's by these other companies, I don't even think they float. So you're kind of messing with the formula of the initial simple bait. And the reason is that they want to get all these things out and kind of flood the marketplace because everybody's buying them up. That right now it's just a hot thing. You gotta go, 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 go. You gotta get some. And so what I'm saying is that yes, they are great baits. Yes, this is a staple in my repertoire. This is something that I'm gonna throw on a regular basis. But don't get caught up in the hype. Don't go out and think that you need to get 150 kinds of trailers for your Ned Rig jig, or that you need every different type of Ned Rig jig to begin with. You know, you can start with this and catch a lot of fish. So don't get caught up in the hype. Don't run out and think that you need to get every type of trailer and every type of jig head and everything that says Ned on it, because it's not gonna make you a better fisherman in and of itself. And it's gonna put you in that category of I'm becoming a collector again. And as minimalist fishermen, that's something that we want to avoid. We don't want to become collectors. We want to become more proficient and more focused. So when the weather is rough, if it's super hot, if it's super cold, when it's time to slow down and pick a finesse presentation, give this one a shot. Bag a few fish and let me know on social media. If this helped you in any way, I'd love to hear from you. It ain't magic, but it's awesome. Let's get better. See ya.